Welcome to the Supporting Parents and Caregivers of Students with High Needs During the COVID-19 Pandemic Resource Guide and Webinar Series. My name is Alicia Tracus. I am an education consultant in the Bureau of Special Education at the Connecticut State Department of Education. I am happy to be presenting today with my colleagues, Jen Lucier from the Connecticut Parent Advocacy Center and Joyce Rio from Capital Region Education Council. This resource was developed through a collaborative partnership between the Connecticut State Department of Education, the RESC Alliance, the Connecticut Parent Advocacy Center, and the Connecticut Association for Private Special Education Facilities, overseen by the representatives shown on your screen, and was designed specifically for parents and caregivers of students with high needs to support your efforts to engage your child or young adult in continued educational opportunities during the COVID-19 pandemic. We recognize that some students have significant challenges accessing distance learning through more conventional methods. There are students who are unable to sit in front of a computer screen to access learning. And some students require a hands-on, life skill embedded method of instruction. This resource guide was designed with that population of students in mind. The information and resources included in the resource guide are meant to be a supplemental resource for families, in addition to the work you are coordinating with your child's school program, and are organized into 10 different topical categories: getting started, communication skills, literacy, math, science, social studies, and current events, physical activity and mobility, life skills and self-help skills, art, sensory activities and supports, and play and leisure. The one-pager provides a one-page view of the complete resource guide. You will find the purpose of the resource, a brief overview of the information, tools, and resources located in each section of the resource, as well as a link to each section in the resource. Getting started is an introduction to the resource guide. This section is a great place for parents and caregivers to start as you navigate supporting your child or young adult. Supporting continued educational opportunities for students during the COVID-19 pandemic is a challenge for any parent or caregiver. However, it is of particular challenge for students who have high needs. Communication with school-based teams, the creation of schedules and routines, and setting of expectations are of utmost importance. Getting started is made up of 3 main sections: some functional tips, self-care for the parent and caregiver, and setting up the environment for continued educational opportunities at home. Each of these main sections contains tips and suggestions on how to put the information presented into practice, as well as some additional resources that may be helpful. Now, my colleagues Jen and Joyce will introduce themselves to you and provide you with an overview of today's session.
Hello, my name is Jen Lucier, and I am a Family Engagement Coordinator and Parent Consultant for the Connecticut Parent Advocacy Center. As Connecticut's Parent Training and Information Center, we work to educate, support, and empower families of children and youth with disabilities and chronic health conditions, ages birth to 26. All of our parent consultants are also parents of children or young adults with disabilities. As a parent, I have learned the importance of understanding and supporting my child's sensory needs, especially during this challenging time. I collaborated with my colleague Joyce, who shared her expertise on this subject for this section of the resource guide.
Hello, I'm Joyce Rio, the Assistant Director of Therapies for the Capital Region Education Council Integrated Program Models. I have had the privilege of working in school practice as an occupational therapist for over 35 years and have come across many amazing families, students, staff, and colleagues, all striving to make a difference and contribute to children's engagement in occupations, all those meaningful and important activities that occupy their day: learning, playing, socializing, assuming responsibility, and more. The goal of our session today is to provide you with an overview of the sensory activities and support section in the resource guide, which can be easily accessed by using the web address on your screen. The sensory activities and support section of the resource guide includes information and resources in 3 areas. The first, sensory activities and supports, which provides a brief description of the different sensory processing patterns to consider when selecting different supports and activities. The second, putting sensory activities and supports into practice, which includes tips, suggestions, and hyperlinks for additional resources as you begin to explore sensory activities and support that match your child's needs at home. And third, additional resources, which contains links to additional information and resources that may be helpful to assist families in uncovering sensory strategies that promote healthy regulatory development. The sensory activities and support section provides a simplified model to think about the different patterns we may fall under as we take in, interpret, and use sensory information. These patterns include being a seeker, avoider, bystander, or sensor. Winnie Dunn's sensory processing model allows you to conceptualize these fluid patterns. A person with a seeking pattern may engage in more activity and at greater intensity in comparison to others. An avoider may retreat from unfamiliar situations more than others. Our bystanders may miss more cues than others, and a sensor may notice more and react more quickly and intensely than others. Understanding this model and the different patterns may provide some valuable insight into your child's sensory patterns as well as your own. At times, our patterns can be at odds with one another, so this is important to know. For example, a child may be a visual seeker and love colorful and busy visuals within their day. And a parent may be a visual avoider and become completely overwhelmed by all the visual distractions and change. Understanding our different patterns may help us identify strategies and supports that allow everyone to live cohesively under one roof and get their individual needs met.
Putting sensory activities and supports into practice highlights the importance of matching supports and activities to your child's sensory processing patterns. As a parent or caretaker, you may need to be a bit of a sensory detective to determine what works for you, your child, and your family. Suggestions are provided along with hyperlinks to additional materials, such as an article on banking sensory points to get through life's day-to-day challenges, sites for movement breaks, activities to alert our bystanders or satisfy our seekers, and a site for deep breathing techniques to provide a sense of calm for our sensors or a pause for our avoiders. The ultimate message in this section is to find those supports and activities that result in positive changes and help build self-regulation and development. Additional resources includes a simple checklist for looking at signs of possible sensory processing challenges, books and guides for those that want to learn more about sensory patterns and strategies as an adult and as a parent or caregiver, an interoception kit with activities focused on the 8th sense of interoception, the sense that allows us to notice body signals, identify emotions attached to those signals, and to determine feel-good actions. For example, noticing a dry mouth, identifying the feeling of being thirsty, and acting on getting a drink of water to satiate that thirst, as well as articles on creating a sensory space at home, a regulation scale to use with your child to build self-awareness, and general need to know information.
Thank you, Jen and Joyce, for partnering with me today to showcase the sensory activities and support section of the Supporting Parents and Caregivers of Students with High Needs during the COVID-19 Pandemic Resource Guide. It has been an honor to be a part of this collaborative project between the Connecticut State Department of Education, the RESC Alliance, the Connecticut Parent Advocacy Center, and the Connecticut Association of Private Special Education Facilities in their efforts to provide guidance, resources, and supports for families and educators as we navigate a situation that we have never experienced before in our lifetime. We sincerely thank the members within our organizations, shown on the screen, for their contributions to this resource. As the remaining sections of this resource guide become finalized, you will be hearing from other members within our organizations who contributed to the content of those sections to provide you with a brief explanation of the information and resources contained in each section as you support your child or young adult with high needs. Thank you for your time and attention. We wish you and your family health and happiness during this trying time. Be safe, and remember, we will get through this challenging time together.